everybody, and welcome back to another 52-week movie challenge. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got an awesome show for you guys. We're going to be talking about our challenge number 25, week 25. It is a film celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. So I picked the 1997 film Future War. The date challenge completed was 6/21/22. And I gave it 1.5 stars. I forgot to write down the aspect ratio, which I will. Runtime is 1 hour and 30 minutes. It's a sci-fi genre. It's unrated, and it stars Daniel Bernhardt, Robert Z'Dar, who's in this background right here. There he goes. Robert Z'Dar, Travis Brooks Stewart, and others. Anthony Dublin directed it, produced by David Huey, and written by Dom Maskili and David Huey. Music by Arlen H. Bowl. Wonder if he's related to Yuva Bowl. Awards received an A. Why did I choose this particular film? Really, because it stars Robert Z'Dar. That's literally the reason I chose it. Have you seen this movie before? Nope. Would you recommend this film? Why or why not? Yeah, if you like terrible sci-fi flicks. Which character were you most able to identify with or connect with in what way? None. Best line or memorable quote? I need your help. For what? Monsters in the Hood. That was my favorite. And we'll talk about that later. Were you surprised by the ending? What would you do differently? Not really surprised because it was at the beginning of the film. I do the whole film differently. Do you feel this film shows as well as it did when it was released? Do you feel this film shows as well as it did when it was released 25 years ago? Explain. I don't know what that means, but I said probably. I mean, back then it was still viewed as a terrible as it is now. It was on like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Anything else you'd like to add? Nope. Watch it on YouTube for free or MST3K for on Tubi. All right, so let's go into this movie. There are a ton of places that have reviewed this film, and I'm eventually going to probably do it for Patreon only because it is a very famous bad film. It is this just terrible sci-fi flick, basically about a tool. That's what he calls himself. He's a tool. He's the runaway, who is a human who runs away from this planet and comes to Earth, which they view as heaven. And he has to get away from these dinosaurs that are being created, that are like trying to track him, while there's also a slave master people, like slave cyborg slaves. I don't know. It doesn't explain itself well enough, and the lead star is basically at the time. Now, I've heard he's gotten a lot better as an actor, and he's been in a lot better projects, and Daniel Bernhardt is more famous now for actually doing good stuff, and good for him. But in this movie, you could tell he, like, English was not his first language. In that he seemed like very much like Jean-Claude Van Damme, like a wannabe Jean-Claude Van Damme. He even looked like Jean-Claude Van Damme. And so a lot of people kind of probably thought he was, Jean-Claude Van Damme when they started putting this out and stuff. So that's a good trick. He's dime store Jean-Claude Van Damme, he's already Jean-Claude Van Damme is dime store Bruce Lee or somebody, else, or whatnot. But he comes out and basically meets up with this girl who's a nun, who is, I guess, having a change of, she's losing her faith. However, she was in a, gang before and did drugs and all this other stuff. Then she chose to get help and get clean, and then she went to being a nun. And then at the end, there's some stuff with the nun, which is very confusing because, like, they come back into the, I think it was Robert Zadar or the dinosaurs or whatever it was, comes into the church and starts messing up with the church. And Daniel Bernhardt is there with her. So I'm like, wait, he's watching her do her nun stuff. Like, it was weird. The whole movie was strange. I didn't hate it, like, to the point where like I said, I'd recommend this movie if you like really terrible sci-fi flicks, but I would recommend watching it on, like, probably Mystery Science Theater 3000, or checking out like Red Letter Media about it or whatever, because they really do a good job, like, breaking it down and kind of making, poking fun at it. I'm not going to do that. Like, that's not what I do. And we are probably going to handle that stuff in the Patreon only next season. But this season, I have no plans to put this on there. Did I like I said, I didn't hate the movie. I just felt the movie was sort of like, I didn't hate it because it kept my interest going. Like, I was like, what the hell is going on here? Nothing was too slow. It wasn't boring. It was like, what the fuck am I watching? And sort of, to me, that was fun. But aside from that, this wasn't the greatest movie. It's just, I wanted to pick something that wasn't, whatever was out in 97 that was a big hit, because I'm like, I don't want to do big hits so much. Now, this is called Indie Film Cafe. I was using a lot of this as ways to watch Hollywood movies. But now this was an indie film. This was definitely indie. There's cardboard. There's like cardboard boxes. There were scenes where people are just pushing cardboard boxes and throwing them, and then they were like, getting attacked by them. Like, it was just so ridiculous. It was such a silly movie. But if that's your cup of tea, if that's something that you're into, I would definitely recommend this movie. So check it out. It's on YouTube. I believe that's where I watched it for free. It might also be on Tubi. I know the MST3K version is. You watch that, or you can watch it on anywhere else. You can buy it. It's something I probably would want to own someday. And probably if I do it on Patreon only, I would want to have it and watch it in the studio because it's just so ridiculous. But aside from that, it's something I would definitely recommend if you're into like really shitty sci-fi movies that just are silly, goofy, and have no real point. At the end of the day, this movie didn't really matter. It didn't shape my life. It didn't change my perspective on anything. It didn't even entertain me to the point where I was like, oh my God, I need this in my, every day of my life. Like, this is just something that sort of was fun to watch and just enjoyable to the point where I wasn't mad at it. It was silly. The dinosaurs were cheap, but they were fun. They seemed like puppets most of the time, or maybe even a person in a suit, so I don't know. It was just goofy and silly. So I definitely recommend it if you're able to check it out. Until then, let me see what the next week is. That was week 25. And I guess it's its 25th anniversary. So there you go, Future War. So challenge number 26, week 26, is a film that features an illness. Yikes. I don't know what I'm going to do with that one, but I guess we'll figure it out by next week. Thank you guys for checking this out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until then, have a good one. Bye, everybody.